Attention, Canadians. Do you feel disconnected from our current political system? This could be our last chance to take a real legal stand for our rights. It's time to shift the political power to its rightful owners, the Canadian citizens and Indigenous peoples of Canada. Dive into our history, understand the need for change, and embark on the quest for true democracy. Are you concerned about our nation's commitment to human rights and self-governance? The power shift to freedom aligns with vital treaties and international laws enabling us to claim our rightful place as collective head of state. We advocate legally replacing the Crown, King Charles III, and our partocracy system with a true democracy, the peoples as the true collective head of state with veto power over our governance, to ensure your voice counts more than party interests. When our national collective civil and political rights are respected, your influence on policies will be direct and impactful. Join us on this noble struggle to make every Canadian and Indigenous peoples a meaningful participant in our future as collective head of state, which was legally owed and kept from us since the patriation of our Constitution, an official decolonization from the United Kingdom of 1982. It's time to correct the past of our government's lies and omissions to the people of our great country before it is too late. People 15 years old and over can sign our Canadian People's Referendum at canadianreferendum.ca and unite for our rights as the collective head of state in our Constitution. Together, we can be the example in reshaping Canada's future, not just for us, but for all peoples worldwide, once and for all. Are you ready to be part of this transformative movement? Join the Power Shift to Freedom movement by the Canadian People's Union and be part of a bold vision for Canada's future. Visit thecpu.ca for more details. Embrace and face the change required on your part to shape our future.
Okay, are we live? It appears that we are live. So, normally during the live streams, I answer a lot of questions there in the chat. Not going to be doing a ton of that today, although I do appreciate the teal pair that dropped in the chat before I even popped on live here. The reason for the season. Obviously, I'm sure 95% of you have heard about what happened in Europe today. What I understand is still at least partially going on, maybe fully going on at this time. I was going to wait until the inevitable, it was Russia or it was China or it was hacking that took out the power in Portugal, Spain, and France. Some of the photos of like the trains just stopped on the tracks, just people standing around like, what do we do? What do we do? Ancestors shaking their heads at some people today. It was not that atmospheric phenomenon, which I'm going to talk about a little more in just a second. It was definitely not hacking. Once I saw about it and then I heard what they claimed it was, I immediately went and started checking all of the data. Earth's magnetic field let a solar wind breakthrough event occur. We don't even have a name for whatever that just happened today. Hey, do you like that? I bleeped myself mid-sentence. I watched the energy hit the F layer over the North Atlantic. I watched the total electron content surge and then sort of drive itself into the Mediterranean area. It looked like it was mostly focused right around the Rock of Gibraltar. Captain Shipwreck there at the mouth of the Mediterranean, but it was very, very heavy to the north of that, Spain, Portugal, and all the way up into France as well. I watched it happen. There is no question in my mind about what happened. And I'm not sure I would have even thought to go look at this if it wasn't for what they said did it. And what they said did it is only half a lie. It's half true and it's half a lie. Let me go ahead and pull up the exact words here. You're not going to see them because you're just looking at me. All right, so here we are. A rare atmospheric phenomenon has taken out power in Spain, Portugal, and France. A rare atmospheric phenomenon. Brought public transport to a standstill. Could you imagine just in a big city, all of the traffic lights just stop working? The restaurants can't do anything. The banks can't do anything. The gas stations can't do anything. Woof. Okay. The official Spanish electricity grid office group, whatever the heck you were calling them, REN, they said that this was a result of extreme temperature variations in Spain. And because of those, there were anomalous oscillations in extremely high voltage lines. That happened. Wren said this is known as induced atmospheric variation, which in turn can lead to oscillations. This caused synchronization failures between systems, leading to successive disturbances across the European network, which is fully interconnected. Given the complexity of the issue, it could take as long as a week for the network to return to normal for everyone there. I really, really hope not. But you guys over in Europe, if you're being affected by that, the chances of you hearing me right now are not so fantastic. But this is a nice little test for you guys. Now, it was not caused by extreme heat in Spain. Total nonsense. Total nonsense. But in terms of, what the atmosphere did in terms of its oscillatory behavior and the induction oscillations and variability and lack of sync in the systems, that's like textbook what you're looking for in terms of an electromagnetic disruption. Now, I want it to be clear for those who follow on X, formerly Twitter. You may have seen my interaction post with OMA earlier today, open-minded approach, one of probably my favorite 3 or 4 catastrophists on X at the moment, along with Ethical Skeptic. Nice little shout out there. The question was posed to me by open-minded approach, is there any chance this was caused by solar activity? And definitely not. Geomagnetic conditions are extremely quiet. The solar wind is extremely quiet. Solar flaring is basically at baseline levels. We have no space weather whatsoever. However, if you recall yesterday's top story, you don't need significant space weather to have electromagnetic events that are very powerful on the atmosphere. That was what yesterday morning's top story was about the space hurricanes and how they funnel charged particles down into the atmosphere, even during the quietest of geomagnetic solar storm times. Even if there's nothing going on, they can still cause significant plasma penetration into the atmosphere, leading to significant atmospheric disruptions. Now, not only did we see that today, it was very, very dramatically extended down the longitudes into the North Atlantic region. For those of you who really are into a lot of the data, and you're one of those people who goes to the Space Weather Prediction Center from NOAA and looks at all the charts, go down to, I got to figure out exactly what they call this thing. I have it saved, so I don't even look anymore. Hold on. The Glotec, Glotec. In the morning hours, which will be easy for you to tell, even if you're not in Europe, and even if you don't understand universal time, because these maps that they've got of the total electron content, average, departure from 30-day mean, the F layer maps, they all have the day and night, light versus dark. So as the timeline is moving on the animation, you can see which part of the world is in daylight and which part is in night. When the Euro area and the North Atlantic comes out of nighttime in those first hours of the morning, watch for the flashing. Watch for the flashing there in the North Atlantic. And then in the F layer, watch how it shoots right at the Rock of Gibraltar, which if you don't know where that is, it's basically right at the mouth of the Mediterranean. It's a famous thing in history that has sunk many, many ships over the years. Fun little rabbit hole if you want to go down that one. This was not the sun. It was not Russia, was not China, was not hacking, and it was not the extreme heat. This was a weak spot in Earth's magnetic field, allowing a solar wind plasma penetration, which dramatically excited the ionosphere ceiling of the global electric circuit to the point where I'm sure some of that spread out through the ionospheric waveguide, but an enormous amount of it didn't. It just shot straight down in the global electric circuit. And, you know, there's actually something I haven't checked. I just need to make sure of this for a second. Earth.nullschool.net. Let's take a look at the pressure there so we can, when you look at the pressure cells, those of you who are veteran observers, you know, you can tell where the atmospheric energy is coming up and going down. So give me a second here. Yeah, there's one little low pressure cell just northwest of Portugal, but the entirety of the Europe mainland, high pressure. One of the strongest high pressure cells in the world, which is downward electric current, dead over the North Atlantic. That's exactly where the I'm sitting here looking at this. This is exactly where the flash took place on the total electron content. I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm looking at. You're just looking at me. That's got to be real annoying. I'm sorry about that. But okay, so I can see it went right down into that high pressure cell, curved along the global electric circuit lateral forcing by the low pressure cell right next to it, and directly into Portugal, Spain, and France. And as it wraps up around the low pressure cell, that's northwestern France, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't expect to see anything different than that. I just wanted to check and make sure that there wasn't an enormous hole in what I was saying to you. And of course, there's not. We have been getting way too much. I'm going to transition slightly. We've been getting too much on this front in terms of news about how bad Earth's magnetic field is doing, about news on the solar system shift, things happening throughout the solar system. I was having a little text chat with Brett Weinstein from Dark Horse this morning. For those of you who haven't seen my interview with Brett on Dark Horse, that might be the best interview I have ever done. And partially because Brett might be the best interviewer that has ever interviewed me. The guy is phenomenal at what he does. So those of you who watch Brett Weinstein, you know that already. But I was talking with him today, and I was remarking to him how frustrating this was. Stuff like the Puerto Rico blackout a couple days ago during a minor solar storm. And when I say minor, that's not how it showed up in the data, but that's what hit us. What hit us was a minor solar storm. So it's kind of like, okay, obviously, if you take a haymaker, you're going to be in pain. You might fall. You might lose a tooth. You might get a black eye. But, you know, if somebody just walks up to you and goes, hey, buddy, gives you a little love tap, but it breaks the bones in your face and you fall over and you get a concussion and you got a black eye and you lose half your teeth. You obviously took damage, but did you take that big of a hit, or was there just something wrong with you that you took such a big hit from something that wasn't so big? That second thing, the latter, is basically what happened a couple days ago in Puerto Rico. This tiny little solar storm hit us. It produced fairly significant effects here at Earth. And the Puerto Rico grid went down at the exact moment that the solar storm began. Here, there was no solar storm. That would have made things a little easier. We've been seeing that these solar storms have been doing that a lot. They come in, they look like they're one way, and then Earth reacts like he's LeBron James who just got nudged in the lane, and he's like, oh, foul. I know some of you guys saw that. LeBron James is like the worst actor, something of a pussy as well. The way that this event went down, this is brand new. And this is what I was commenting to Brett today. I was expecting stuff like this to start happening between 2030 and 2035. But this event, and then what happened in Puerto Rico, what happened back in October, what's basically happened with every single solar storm we have had since March of 2023, when the largest acceleration in the pole shift yet occurred. Thank you, Dr. Simonenko out of Russia, for letting the world know that one when nobody else did. Since that time, things have been progressing way too quickly, and I recognize that, but I don't have a way to account for this mathematically. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. It's as though the timeline is accelerating, but I can't find anything in the data that will let me say that to you with confidence. You know, I'm not going to guess with something like this. It's like we do have that data for a couple hours at a time every couple of weeks, like today. Okay, this was data on that. Already, the data's back to normal. You wouldn't know anything happened. You wouldn't know there was any kind of a problem or a plasma penetration in Earth's magnetic field earlier today. Looking at the data right now, you'd have no idea anything happened. It's a good thing they keep 24 hours on the animations. I'd have never seen this thing. I didn't actually go look until like 6 or 7 hours after I heard about the blackout, when they came out and they were like, it was a rare atmospheric phenomenon that caused high voltage wires to have issues. And I'm like, well, let me go look at this a little bit closer, huh? Other than that, there is no... I see somebody talking about Antarctica weather modification station. No such thing exists. There is not a giant black alien pyramid in Antarctica. There's no earthquake machine. All of that stuff was lies. Complete nonsense. Stop it. Stop it. We're dealing with real shit here, okay? I know you guys, and look, here, I'm going to pause for a moment, because this happened to me in 2011 when I realized all the lies and the things that they were hiding and this and that. Do you know what happened to me a week later? I was investigating things like Nibiru and the reptilians and the Pleiadian aliens and the Arcturians and this and that. And you know what I figured out? There is as much bullshit in our community as there is in the mainstream. And it comes from the exact same place. They put stuff into our world to distract and confuse us. And where did all that Antarctica information come from? Wasn't that a Pentagon hearing? Government guy going like this at your face, and you're like, oh, wow, I believe you. I believe everything you're saying. Come now. Stop it. This is very real. This is going on right now, and we don't need to be clouding it with horse crap, okay? So today's Euro blackout event, plasma penetration event, global electric circuit excitation, F layer surging, total electron content surging, causing those atmospheric oscillations, all due to the fact that Earth's magnetic field is weakening, and weakening in ways that are somewhat expected, but also somewhat not expected and happening a little faster than I really thought they were going to. How about a little bit of update for those of you who may have missed some of the big updates we've had recently, because it's getting to the point where every couple of weeks, we're getting more information on Earth's disaster cycle than we used to get in a decade. Every couple of weeks, we have more new information than we got from 1800 to the year 2000. Io, the volcanic moon of Jupiter, had a super volcano eruption that is the biggest thing that has ever happened in this solar system volcanically. The Siberian traps on Earth don't even come close. Olympus Mons on Mars, not even close. It could just be a coincidence that as the entire solar system is shifting in this way, at the exact time we would expect this cycle to be repeating itself. Maybe it's just a coincidence that Io had a super volcano eruption. Something tells me it's not a coincidence. The helium isotopes caught from the sun. Did you catch that one? Solar Orbiter and Parker Probe. They've been detecting these extremely rare helium isotopes from the sun. And you know what? It didn't stop during sunspot minimum like it's supposed to. This is something we've been talking about for a couple of years. The helium content is going up in the corona, and that's why they're seeing so many more of these rare isotopes. The magnetic field shift on the sun is causing a chemistry change within the corona, which will eventually turn it red and then black, and, well, observers know the rest. Neptune. So they finally pointed James Webb at Neptune and Uranus, something they probably should have done like right off the bat. But they pointed it at Neptune and they found this is how you see the Neptunian aurora. This is how you do it. You need to look in the near infrared. And they showed us a beautiful picture of the auroras on Neptune. And they didn't say a single word about the fact that the auroras went from pole across the equator to the other pole, which is what you expect during a magnetic reversal on a planet, something we had already suggested was taking place on Neptune due to the rapid atmospheric freeze-out and the storm pattern reversal, which shouldn't happen unless there's some kind of a major reversal of a planetary system. And then they pointed James Webb at Uranus. And what was interesting about that one, I really hope somebody, one of you remembers this one. Their big announcement was, with this better view of the clouds on Uranus. Now, thanks to James Webb, we can finally determine the rotation rate accurately of Uranus, which wasn't possible before because its poles are shifting. And so this is a great, great job James Webb did. And I'm sitting there like, whoa, 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 whoa. What did you just say? Its poles are shifting? Because I don't remember that press release. You guys want to run it back and type up a little something for that one? That's not mainstream science. Where did that come from? When were you going to tell us that? Oh, when you were able to slip it in. It's like what they do with the omnibus bills, where they just slip something in that has nothing to do with the legislation they're writing. NASA did that with the Uranus story. And then, of course, there was that team that decided, hey, we're going to look at this pole shift in a brand new way. Now, remember, that was the one I was kicking myself for never having thought to do before. Hey, let's remove the Chandler wobble from the magnetic pole motion and see what that looks like. To be honest, I'm not upset that I didn't think about that. It's like some kind of like on the spectrum shit that they thought of that in the first place. Good thing that they did, though, because it's very, very clear that the magnetic pole shift is behaving like a Formula One race. You know, they go really fast. Oh, but then they got to slow down to go around a little bend and then zoom. You know, and they got to slow down to go around a little bend and zoom in the straightaway. You know what I'm talking about. They slow down and curve and then boom in the straightaway. That's actually what Earth's magnetic field is doing. It's going and then it's slowing and then boom and then it's slowing and then zoom, then it's slowing and then zoom. And each time it's a little more and a little faster and a little faster. This is the overall long-term acceleration. until they removed the Chandler wobble. I mean, it was just a month ago that we had to report that paper, and the last 5 years have been the slowdown in the curve. And right about now is when we were supposed to be hitting the straightaway. You guys remember that story? They removed the Chandler wobble, and there's the speed up after the slowdown. And I said, watch for that at some point this year. Is that what just happened this morning? There's no way for me to say yes or no on that. But what I can tell you is that that was a plasma penetration event from space. And the only way that much of a disturbance could come, couldn't have been cosmic rays, couldn't have been galactic cosmic rays. That had to be the solar wind breaking through a weak spot in Earth's magnetic field. And it was on the dawn side where you technically get the strongest geomagnetic disturbances. That's a whole bunch of coincidences. And don't forget, I already went and I checked the pressure to see if the global electric circuit matches. It matches. Should have done that before I went live, but it matches. This is too much. Everything I just said, Uranus, Neptune, the pole shift minus the Chandler wobble, the helium isotopes coming out of the corona, Io's supervolcano, Puerto Rico, Europe, blackouts. This is just in the last 2 months. You can look from 2015 to 2020. There is not this much information. There's not this much new information during that entire 5-year stretch. And we're getting this every couple of weeks. It's preposterous. The idea of making updating the Earth disaster cycle video, it's just like laughable at this point. Like, what am I going to do? Do this and then promote it for several weeks until a new story comes out? The last 3 times I've updated the Earth disaster, by the way, if you haven't seen that, it's down below in your homework, right below the video in the description box. If you have to click show more, show more. The last 3 times I've done that video, within 2 weeks, there's a brand new bombshell that really should have been in there. You know what I mean? And so it's like, anyway, I've just been talking at you for 25 minutes. I'm sorry about that. Haven't been asking for questions. Now, see, I don't understand this. Somebody just typed, the Europe blackout wasn't caused by solar weather, question mark. What live stream are you watching? If you jumped in the middle, if you jumped in after I started, shut up. Don't type anything. Go back and start it from the beginning. I don't know what you guys think we're doing here, or if you think this is just fun time with weather and the sun. This is not a joke. And this is not something to be lazy about. And yeah, if you came in late, silence. Pay attention. Is there an updated timeline? Valid question. And I wouldn't know how to give you one. I have no idea how to give you one. When I give you timelines, I'm not just like, oh, it looks like we should right about. No, I'm doing math. And there's no data for me to do math on right now. Okay, how do I use these 2 or 3 hours of plasma penetration surging down right into Europe this morning when 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after the data's like, can I help you? No, apparently not. Apparently not. I don't have any idea how to change the timeline based on stuff like this. I'm using long-term data. I don't know how to use these one-off events to... Maybe there should be an update to the timeline. I don't have the first clue how to do that. Whew. This is going to be a fun weekend at Observer Ranch, that's for sure. Kings of Catastrophe weekend. Dr. Dunning is coming. Man, you guys should try to come out to the ranch for some of these events. Dr. Robitaille was... The man might be a demigod. His talk was so insightful. So insightful Saturday morning. It was amazing. And the stories he was telling Friday night about what he went through when he tried to change the world. For those of you who don't know, he shattered the record, doubled the record for nuclear magnetic resonance. The reason why modern MRI machines work today and save lives today is because of Dr. Robitaille. When everybody told him, you're insane, you're going to fry people's brains, and he was like, no, I know science better than you. And now he's going through astronomy and using the same radiological electromagnetic science that he figured out before anyone else in the radiology field, and realized, hey, wait a minute, 1 + 1 is 2 there, and it's 2 there. So maybe I should just take this and see what else I can fix. And he picked astronomy. If you don't watch Sky Scholar, Dr. Robitaille's channel, it's a must watch. It's one of the only people I actively promote here on the channel. And there's a good reason for that. But this weekend, we have Dr. August Dunning, formerly Caltech, formerly NASA, JPL. And he's going to explain to us right to our faces why this disaster is about to happen. The sun is going to micronova. The earth is going to turn over, and we're going to have to deal with the next age of this planet. It's nice being retired. You don't have to worry about losing a grant or losing your job or anything like that. But yeah, a couple days away, Kings of Catastrophe weekend. Then, if you can't make it there, how about May 17th? May 17th, Pole Shift Conference on all of this stuff. We'll be discussing it all day. There's also Pole Shift conferences. Let me pull this up here just so I can get the dates right, because I've got a billion things in my head. Yeah, May 17th, June 14th, July 26th, August 23rd, September 20th. All of this is on observerranch.com, by the way. So you can go check that out. But honestly, it's time. It's time. Like, if you're waiting for something, so earth turning over thing, big deal, need more info. Well, here's an idea. Why don't you try doing the homework, Mr. I need more info? It's right down there. It's beneath every single video I post to the internet. Just look in the box right there. It's right down here below the video. Click show more and then look for homework and then do the homework. Or die when this happens. I don't really care. But me and my kids are going to live, along with everybody else who's in the survival community at Observer Ranch. So, yeah. For those of you who just happen to show up, I'm just going to give it to you like this. And by the way, there are 4 other things I can point to that are as equally as what I'm about to say. Everybody's heard about those mammoths they dug out of the Arctic, right? Oh, they froze so quickly. The food in their mouths and even their stomachs didn't digest. They froze so quickly. Chemical digestion ceased. And everybody asks the dumbest question ever. How do you freeze a mammoth so quickly? Stupidest question. Dumb. Idiotic. What were they eating? Because I'll tell you what, we are 12,000 years into a warm, now hot, interglacial cycle. 12,000 years into a hot interglacial period. And they had to dig those things out of 20, 30 feet of ice. They were frozen during the glacial period, which was 10, 15, 20 degrees colder. What you think it was like up there? You think that there was thousands of pounds of vegetation, which they each needed to eat every single day to not die? What were they eating in the glacial cycle at the polar region? And the answer is they weren't up at the polar region. The answer is that the world looked like this with the equator about right there, and then the world went like that. and they all froze. Because otherwise, what were they eating? They weren't. They weren't up there. And yes, there's like 4 other, I'm not going to do this right now. Go do your homework. There's like 4 other things that are as equally like, huh, okay, as that. And they all tell you the world went like this. Yes, Einstein stole a bunch of shit from the patent office. That's how he got his start. If you think he sucked in math and was a complete idiot, you're beyond help, and you have gone way too far right off the cliff. He was a smart man, and he knew for a fact that the earth goes like this. He died trying to answer how it happens. He never looked at the sun. He never looked at Earth's magnetic field. He never looked at galactic magnetism or anything like that. They didn't really know enough about it back then. But he knew for a fact the earth went like this. And he died not figuring out how it all works. So yes, the earth turns 90 degrees every 12,000 years. I'm not being very stoic today, am I? I'm a bit emotional and salty. The point I'm trying to make is things are happening fast. Yes, you probably deserve an update to the timeline. I don't know how to give you one. I don't know how to do this. What's happening is quasi pseudo what I expected, but not when I expected, and not in a way that will allow me to mathematically insert this into some equation or model that I have that can accelerate the timeline for me to sit here and confidently give you a new one. That is the answer that you're just going to have to be okay with at this exact point in time, because I don't have another one. Now, 5 years from now, when they do the next magnetic pole shift update and they give us the new pole positions and we can see after we came out of the curve, how fast did we hit the straightaway, then I will be able to update the model. Can't do it today. To recap, this morning's Euro blackout. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before they try to blame this on hacking or unreliable, renewable energy, the woke right. Doesn't it suck that we have a woke left and a woke right now? Ugh. It wasn't hacking. It wasn't China. It wasn't Russia. It wasn't unreliable, renewable energy. It wasn't extreme heat in Spain. It was that plasma penetration that I watched it happen. I watched it come down. I watched it excite the F layer. I watched the total electron content in the atmosphere, boom, surge, and slide right towards the Rock of Gibraltar and spread over Spain, Portugal, and Western France. That's what happened this morning. Earth's magnetic field took a little love tap, had a bunch of his teeth knocked out. And so, no, there was nothing from the sun, nothing significant. When we look at the person who gave the love tap, he's there like, what did I do? I'm sorry, I didn't. But it wasn't his fault. It's the guy he hit. Something wrong with him. Our planet. Oh, look at this. Somebody says, when you all get to religion, ... who hasn't done the homework and seen how much we have gone up and down through that one. You know what one of the biggest problems of the internet today is? People who don't do their homework, who don't actually know what they're talking about. They love this. They just... Bad news is when you do that around somebody like me, I'm going to make you look so dumb. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I'm not going to lie. It's one of my favorite hobbies. Taking people who try to come up and be like, well, I know this and I will just state this and I'm not going to give any evidence and my statement itself is going to prove I don't pay attention to what you say or don't do any other homework whatsoever, but I said it. Yeah. Do that around somebody else. I saw a question fly by a bit ago. What's the next planet you expect to see something on? Wish I could tell you. Wish I could tell you. Does Earth count? I mean, does this count? Or are you asking about like something on Mars or Jupiter? I'm pretty sure we've seen the max things at Pluto and Neptune. We'll probably see something else at Uranus. Gotta see something else at Saturn. It's lagging behind a little bit. But that's also because it's kind of off to the side, not like in the direction where the galactic current sheet and the galactic magnetic reversal are coming from. It's like off to the side, like Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, all directly in that line, like at it. Saturn's over to the side. I don't know where we're going to see it next. I don't know how to fix the timeline. I don't know when the next time we're going to see something like this Euro blackout or Puerto Rico or the May 2024 solar superstorm off of an X1 and an X2 solar flare CME. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You guys have heard what I do know. You guys have heard my opinion and what I think. This I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know how to update the timeline. I don't know if we are toast before 2030 or we're going to march all the way to 2049. No idea. But I can tell you this. What happened just now, today? I've never seen anything like that. There's no word in space weather for that. Like, for those of you who also read spaceweather.com, Tony Phillips, the NASA guy. For those of you who hate NASA, ignore that part of it. He's no dummy, and he does good space weather reporting. When he talks about a crack opening in Earth's magnetic field, he is talking about a southward shift in the magnetic field embedded in the solar wind plasma stream, which causes extra particles to come in at the polar cusp. That is not what happened here. That is not what happened today. There's no word in space weather for what happened today. And Tony Phillips, if you're watching, or whoever those two ladies are who do space weather here on YouTube, and they literally take like 10, 20 minutes to say what I say in 60 seconds every morning. Go look at the F2 layer, critical frequency. Go look at the F1 layer. Go look at the total electron content. You tell me what you see right in the dawn sector this morning at the exact time this happened. You tell me what you see. I've never seen that before. You can see it on the tech, on the departure from 30-day mean in the total electron content. You can see it in the F layer. You can see it everywhere. The only thing I would want to see a little bit more, does anybody remember the Fluxgate magnetometer they had up in Gakona, which they like shut off in like 2018 or something? You guys remember that thing? I'd have loved a Fluxgate magnetometer in, say, Iceland or southern Greenland or even Portugal or even the Canary Islands. Just if we had a Fluxgate magnetometer somewhere in that area, I wouldn't need to convince anybody. It would just be blatantly obvious to every scientist on the planet what happened. But what's going to happen is they're going to blame Russia or China, or they're going to go with this climate change, extreme heat causing electrical oscillations and high voltage wires. Does any part of you even think that sounds like it makes sense? They're that dumb out there that people are going to believe it. Just for those of you who've been watching for a while, there's a bit of a pattern emerging, isn't there? And it goes something like, that shouldn't have happened. Haven't seen that before. Scientists were really surprised to see this. It's a pattern. And what I would say is I have been looking at the late 2040s for the zenith of the Earth disaster cycle and the beginning of the next age of Earth. While I tell you that, I like to remind you that, hey, the sun could just throw us back into the Stone Age at any point between now and then because of our magnetic field weakening so much. And then we basically just have to live like cavemen until the world goes like this and then survive that too. And so, okay, maybe the timeline should change, but in terms of what you should be doing and when you should be prepping, no. How many times have I told you, get prepped yesterday? Especially since there are several events that can happen that end prepping instantly. So for example, okay, let's say this is going to happen in 2048, but the sun hits us with a major CME next week. We've got 23 years of living in the Stone Age, and then the catastrophe happens. Or World War III starts, and everything falls apart. Economic collapse. And I think that there's less of a chance of that after what I've seen the last 6 months. It's certainly not off the table at all. If Campy Flegree goes, or Taupo in New Zealand goes, everything is disrupted. The entire global economy is disrupted at that point. There are so many things that could make it tomorrow. You need to be prepping now. And what you need to remember is, first and foremost, take a deep breath. We're here talking. So this thing that happens every 6,000 years to some degree, and to a major degree every 12,000 years, every other 6,000 year cycle, we're here. Humans survive this every single time. And the stories from the last ones describe about a week of pure hell, followed instantly, like the next day, by a golden age. Animals proliferate, plants grow. You just got to make it through that cosmic Super Bowl. And then everybody gets to go to Disneyland. It's not just the winning quarterback who gets to go to Disneyland. Everybody goes to Disneyland who makes it through the cosmic Super Bowl. Food, water, seeds, guns, bullets, pre-industrial tools, books, clothes, a good location, a good community, even better. Anyway, I don't know what they're going to eventually blame this on. Some people are going to blame that climate, global warming thing. Some people are going to blame hackers. This was Earth's weakening magnetic field and the plasma penetration event. I can tell you, if you go and you look at what I told you to look at, you're going to see it too. And for those of you who know how to look at atmospheric pressure cells, that's even easier than what I told you to look for in terms of the atmospheric electricity. If you know how the global electric circuit works, it couldn't have been set up any more perfectly for that energy to just come right down into the atmosphere to ground level. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. And by perfect, I mean horrifying and terrible and good God, what's going to happen next? But anyway, guys, I'm sorry for just yapping at you for 46 minutes here. I am going to go eat a bunch of eggs. Try not to be too depressed about what happened today. Seriously, observerranch.com. Check out the schedule. Come out. and see us. And if you give us more than 2 or 3 days notice of when you're coming, even if there's nothing scheduled, I'll find a way to come down and hang out with you. I can't tell you how many people have done that and literally just sat there with me one-on-one for hours, simply because they were like, yeah, I'll come show up and I'll let you guys know I'm coming. I'll book a reservation. I'll do it right here on observerranch.com. So they can see I'm coming in 8 days. Dude and I just chatted for 3 hours until he got tired or hungry or whatever, had to go check on his daughter. I don't really remember, but there's been like 20 of you that have done that. The events are better. They are better, but still, guys, come on out and get your house in order on this stuff, because yes, the timeline should probably be accelerated. And that's where I have to leave it. I can't give you updated numbers. And to be honest, if that is the truth, you don't want me guessing. Wouldn't you rather me tell you I don't know? Wouldn't you rather me say that if that's the damn truth? That I know what happened this morning. I know why it happened. I know this is a really bad sign and it means that things are speeding up. But that's where I have to stop. And I can tell you, if you can understand that, you should apply that same kind of thinking that, okay, I want an answer, but I don't just want an answer for answer's sake. I want there to be a basis for it. Math or evidence or observations behind it. That's a good lesson. You should demand that. When I'm doing this I don't know. Demand this from the people you listen to on the internet. Demand it. And show up for class tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. my time, right here on YouTube. See you then, guys. Be safe, everyone.
Attention, Canadians. Do you feel disconnected from our current political system? This could be our last chance to take a real legal stand for our rights. It's time to shift the political power to its rightful owners, the Canadian citizens and Indigenous peoples of Canada. Dive into our history. Understand the need for change and embark on the quest for true democracy. Are you concerned about our nation's commitment to human rights and self-governance? The power shift to freedom aligns with vital treaties and international laws enabling us to claim our rightful place as collective head of state. We advocate legally replacing the crown, King Charles III, and our partocracy system with a true democracy, the peoples as the true collective head of state with veto power over our governance, to ensure your voice counts more than party interests. When our national collective civil and political rights are respected, your influence on policies will be direct and impactful. Join us on this noble struggle to make every Canadian and Indigenous peoples a meaningful participant in our future as collective head of state, which was legally owed and kept from us since the patriation of our Constitution, an official decolonization from the United Kingdom of 1982. It's time to correct the past of our government's lies and omissions to the people of our great country before it is too late. People 15 years old and over can sign our Canadian People's Referendum at canadianreferendum.ca and unite for our rights as the collective head of state in our Constitution. Together, we can be the example in reshaping Canada's future, not just for us, but for all peoples worldwide, once and for all. Are you ready to be part of this transformative movement? Join the Power Shift to Freedom movement by the Canadian People's Union and be part of a bold vision for Canada's future. Visit thecpu.ca for more details. Embrace and face the change required on your part to shape our future.